Welcome back to Public Art 101. This is session 10, our final session. We're going to talk about celebration and evaluation. So here you are. You've done all of this hard work. You had an idea, you brought teams together, you supported that idea by finding an artist who developed an even more clear idea that you then designed, put into the ground, installed. Oh, what a beautiful thing. It's there, but it's not over. Let's celebrate all the hard work you did. Bring your community back together, share the stories, talk about what happened, do an evaluation process, learn from what happened so that you can do it all again, even better next time. So some of the ways that you want to celebrate and evaluate your project are through documentation. So documenting your project with video and photos. You want to celebrate your project and communicate about it, sharing all the stories that went into the development of that project. You want to evaluate your project so that you understand what went wrong and what went right and how you can plan again for the next one. We're going to look today at some common risks and pitfalls at the end of your project that you should keep in mind. And then we're going to talk about where to go from here. I'm returning to Nicole Wolf and the resource guide that she provided for us, and you'll see that she included an entire page about celebration. You gotta have it. It's that opportunity for people to really look at the project, come together, understand the process that made it happen, meet the artist, which everyone loves to do, and really take that time to honor the work that went into it. Document your work. People love process and behind the scenes stuff, especially if there is community engagement involved. Make sure you have as many photos as possible, make the photos as high quality as possible, and then really get some amazing photos of the work once it's installed so that even if people haven't been by that site, they're going to want to go there. Do you remember way back when, in our very first session, when we talked about why you do public art in the first place? It's that opportunity to bring people to a site. There's a little bit of arts tourism, a little bit of interest, get to know your community, share some stories, and be invested and connected into the world that we live in. The more that you have that documentation so that you can get that word out there and share the stories, the more people are going to feel that sense of connection. It's why we did the project in the first place. So make sure you do it at the end. So documentation might include videos of community events, videos of the actual installation process, time-lapse videos over the course of a project going into the ground, photographs of the process as well as the final artwork, working shots of artists actually using their hands, meetings, people active, talking, having conversations. Yes, we document a project for the record keeping and for the maintenance manual and for the ongoing repair of a project so we understand how it happened, but we also do it to celebrate and share. So make sure your documentation addresses both needs along the way.
It's important to do celebrations because especially our the people we engage with, they didn't see the final artwork until they came to that. And so they saw like a draft of what it would look like, which was like a small piece of paper and then they gave some feedback. But then to reveal it with community and say, wow, this is the piece of artwork, which is like 20 feet high or something, that like just a big piece of artwork that's on the wall. And just celebrate all that work that was done. Um, and then also with family members, because we can bring our families and our friends to say, hey, we made this thing and then now it's on the walls and this is going to be here for a long time. And it's celebrating a lot of different things, a lot of different cultures. So to bring people together over food, as we love to do, it just felt right.
It's definitely an amazing time to be proud and happy, and just it's very satisfying to see just the amount of faces that were part of it. It was just an amazing time.
Yeah, and we still get feedback.
Yeah.
Like we get tagged on Instagram, we get like Facebook, and then I know that when we have friends come into town or visitors from out of town, anybody in the Filipino community, they'll bring them to our murals to show them the work that we're doing, which is super exciting.
Yeah, it's really fun to just close everything off after a process like that, because it very much so just portrays how it shows all the work that you've done is worth it, and like seeing all the reactions of all the people and all the smiling faces, and just the joy of coming together, similar to when we first did, I guess, started our community engagements. It was especially for this one specifically because it's been a few years, and it was a few years in the making. So we had so much built up excitement from start to finish.
The celebration of an artwork is often called an unveiling event, which is a little bit of a misnomer because very rarely do you actually have a veil that is removed from a public artwork, although it does happen from time to time. It's an important part, though, of engaging the public because it shares the story and it honors the making of that artwork. It brings people together all at once. So what happens over the course of a project is often the public is engaged in different ways throughout the course of the project or in different phases of the project, and they don't actually get to connect or hear from each other. And so it's an opportunity to bring together all of the people who contributed to the project and actually have them all meet, share stories, remember, ask questions, and really honor the contributions that everybody made.
Yeah, for the celebration, most of my family members and friends were present, and also the community members. It was maybe a little bit short announcement. Maybe the time was very short. Maybe it could have been way bigger than what had happened that day. But I was very happy because the support I got from everyone there. My family and friends, they came with a traditional costume. Because it's my success is their success. Because the representation matters. I represent not only myself, the culture, the community, and the country, even if we go beyond. So that was a means of pride for everyone, and the feedback I got from the community members was fantastic, and I really enjoyed it. It was very, very wonderful opening. Yeah.
Celebration and documentation are connected to communication. So it's a way of storytelling and sharing and collecting information about the process. But formal communication should probably come from the commissioning organization. So if you're working for a big corporation or government, they have to do their communications their way. But there are other people who can communicate too. So as an artist, you're also allowed to communicate about your project. That's considered a normal part of administration or business or advertising for the work you do. So you want to share your stories from different perspectives and from different angles so that there's lots of different versions of how that story is celebrated. As a community group, really accessing your community, sharing the stories through your social media networks, through your newsletters. These are ways to get the word out. So when you've completed a project and it's in the ground and everybody's really happy about it and they've had the celebration, the stories are really good and the buzz is really high, that's when you want to look at the things that didn't go quite so smoothly and say, okay, look, we did it anyway. It happened, but what can we do better next time? What steps can we take that's going to expedite this process, make it a little bit smoother, maybe make our project a little bit bigger? So you bring together your group and you have a conversation. That's all it is. You talk about the things that worked, you talked about the things that didn't, you talk about what you'd like to do next time, and then you start to plan for your next project.
I like to call it a learning experience. And now that when it was complete, I could actually say that and be truthful about it, that I had learned a lot and I was grateful that I learned it. While I was doing it, it was more of a gritting my teeth, like, oh, I just learned something new. I learned a new step that I wasn't aware of. Um, and I think one of the main things I realized was that there was a long process to follow, but it wasn't a very simple linear process. Like I had to be doing about 3 separate things at once that were all somewhat dependent on each other, and there really wasn't any way to make that simpler. I've had trouble in the last couple months with misunderstanding with the city, and I guess it was good that I had all of the hurdles on the first round getting it done, because now I've sort of used to that, with the to working with people to get the damage fixed.
So, the reason this is our final session is that celebration and evaluation is a common risk and pitfall. People forget to do it. They forget to celebrate their work, they forget to evaluate their work. And so then what happens is our works are installed into the ground in the public realm. The public suddenly has something that they're looking at, and they have no information or background about where it came from. So that is a risk. Anytime you put something in the public realm and people don't know where it came from, you have the opportunity for complaint or concern. The more that you can share information and share the story and get ahead of that, the more likely people are to be receptive to the work that you've put within their community. Again, often people are included in different phases along the course of the project, and they don't get that opportunity to connect or even to see where their initial feedback resulted in the final artwork itself. So we want to make sure that you continue to draw people back into the process, to remind them that they were a part of it, and to thank them for all their contributions along the way.
I think I had benefited a lot from being able to meet with the elders and hear them talk about Nose Hill and talk about the plants and everything that we had used in the mural. Um, Sorry, not we, Tiffany, but Tiffany had used in the mural. Um, and it was good to be able to bring them and have them talk to the community. I think that just added a lot for the people that were there. And they were able to talk to other people and let them know a bit more about it. Then we expanded it into having a website, an associated website, and a sign, and contacting a lot of people about translations. And so that was a whole a really interesting aspect of the work that I hadn't considered at all when I started.
A lot of times people think that people don't want to know the process in the background. They really almost see the completion of the artwork is the achievement in itself. But really, people are fascinated by how things were made. And the more they understand and see all the work and time and contribution that went into something, the more they really feel connected to that work. So thinking that people don't want to know about the process, I think, is a bit of a pitfall. Artists are skilled laborers. And often people see art as something that isn't contributing to the community, that it's an excess or an add-on or something that's optional. Artists are actually enlivening the spirit of a community, and letting them do the work that they do and celebrating that work is a really important part of the process and an important educational tool into helping us understand the value of artists within our community. Public art has its own industry standards and practices. Often those are misunderstood or misinterpreted. People think that when something goes into the ground, that they understand how much it should have cost. They think things aren't valuable because they don't understand the process and the background that went into it. The more that you can celebrate and share that story, bring people together, show the large, vast array of people that were connected and involved and worked on a project, the more it will help educate and share how much of a contribution each artwork provides to our communities as a whole. It also helps to understand where we need help. So public art and artists are valuable, they're important, they engage the community, they do some exciting things that enhance the public realm, and they also need assistance along the way. All these steps, particularly in the detailed design, where we need the feedback of other industries in order to do their work effectively, the more that we can share that, the more that we can share the ways that we need help and create those partnerships and collaborations within our community, the more art we're going to get, the more quality art we're going to get.
It's really important for the public to be able to connect with the public art program and with public art throughout the city, because public art is really supposed to be that entry point for people who maybe don't have access to art in different ways. So if you might not necessarily be a person who goes to an art gallery or has access to an art gallery, but you might have access to public art that's in your neighborhood or that's along your commute. And so I think it's really important for people to be able to see art throughout their daily lives and connect with it in different ways. Art is really important because it helps shake people out of their day to day. It helps you interpret your surroundings in a different way. It adds excitement, vibrancy to the city that you're in. Um, and I think really art is a gateway into being able to have really difficult conversations or to be able to talk about issues that are facing our day to day lives or that are facing our society in a new and interesting way. Art also brings new perspectives to the table and allows people to kind of come together around a conversation topic.
Okay. So you celebrated your work, you brought everybody together, you talked about what went wrong and how you're going to fix it next time. Where do you go from here? Well, really, you're ready to begin planning your own project. You probably have ideas already. You probably were really inspired. You understand artists a little better. Maybe there's a new area of your community that you're thinking, oh, something could go here. Most of the learning in public art comes from doing. It's about actually working together to create something beautiful in the public realm, to learn from that, and then continue to go forward. You want to plan, you want to talk, you want to have fun. This should be a beautiful thing. Work together to make it beautiful.
I think that our strength really is in that we do a community first approach, I would say, whereas we're not necessarily like we might have an idea that we've envisioned for an area, or we might have an artwork that we've envisioned, but we have lots of ideas and lots of artworks that we're envisioning all the time. But we like to work with the community first to see like what would you guys want or where would you want it? Or if we see a space like a wall for a mural and we're like, oh, this wall's fantastic and it does have an issue already and it does need help. Then we can talk with the community members and be like, what would you think of doing something with this wall? And what would you want on it? Like what speaks to this area or this wall or this place?
But more than anything, know that we're here to help you make that a reality. So please reach out to us at any time if you have questions. Public art at calgaryartsdevelopment.com. The link is on landing page. We're here to help you realize your public art projects and to support you in every step along the way. Thanks for being here with us. It's been a really fun journey.
I want Calgarians to fall in love with public art, and I know many do. And so many other organizations, not only the city, undertake and purvey public art. That should tell us something, right? And so I want us to be a part of continuing and multiplying and building on the excellent tradition and strength of the work that exists here. Because we have the great privilege and honor of being surrounded by artists every day, in the office, outside the office, in the span of our work, and and it was one of the things that really convinced us that our ability to help deliver, a public art program on behalf of the city of Calgary was absolutely because of the strength of the relationships that I believe we have, and that we really try hard to foster with artists and community. So, particularly for artists, when you hear me say putting the public back in public art, know that it is grounded in a foundation that says, when we look at the arts ecosystem, artists are the keystone species, like the buffalo is in the natural system here in this territory. So nothing in our world happens without acknowledging the keystone species that are artists in our community, whether that's public art, whether that's other forms and other disciplines, and more importantly, in the expression of, right? Artists are our storytellers, artists are our meaning makers. Imagine if in that context, when we put the public back in public art, that part of this is making meaning, helping us tell our stories, and having it displayed and featured in the public realm. How amazing and incredible is that? And that's how we will build and strengthen that keystone species. Um, that is, all of you are taking part in these videos.